You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Excited to get started with part 2 of our Cabral House Calls for the weekend. Looking forward to answering your questions. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday where we answered, I think, about 6 of our community's questions. We answered things on literally product reviews, meaning like nutritional supplements. We answered questions on if you're not going to go out and meet people at bars because you're trying to stay away from alcohol, where might you meet other health-conscious people? That was a great question that came in. Looking at things like morning sickness, we spoke about that. We talked about whether, basically how to start a plan. Like, where's the first place you should start when trying to get well, lose the weight, feel better overall? What else did we talk about? We talked a little bit about sleep. We talked a little bit about anxiety. So some really great questions that came in yesterday. Always excited about being able to answer our community's questions. And today is no different. So I'm just going to get right into today's show. And that's because there are a lot of questions in the queue, and I want to make sure I get to as many as possible. So for all the show notes for today, for all the links, for everything that I talk about on the show, go to stephencabral.com/758. You can even follow along as I'm talking about these questions on the show. You'll be able to read them all for yourself. That's also part of the nice thing, and that's because a lot of these questions might be long, and I can't read the whole question because that would be the entire 25-minute show. All right, so let's get right into it. First question's from Lena. She says, "Hey, Stephen, you've got a listener from Paris. I really like your podcast. It's informative. Keep up the good work. I've got a question about myself I would so love the answer to. I will try to be really short." And the funny thing is, Lena, I know like everyone tries to be short in the beginning, and then it ends up being this huge email. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the short of this email, and then everybody can read it on their own if they want. But basically it says, she's Lena, 30 years old. Her name's Lena, 30 years old, vegan, gluten-free since last July, but having a big pain in her belly every time she ate. Lasted about 2 to 3 hours after the time of digestion, and her eosinophils were high, on her blood work. I'll explain what that means in a moment. Did a lot of blood tests. No parasites were found. No H. pylori. Did a colonoscopy. Hospital for abnormal eosinophils. Did have a test and found out they were sensitive to Brazil nuts, eggs, and other nuts, and some other foods like corn and barley and milk. Okay, so she suspected Brazil nuts and eggs for some time. The pains hurt for 6 months and got tired of suffering. Decided to eliminate, after seeing a nutritherapist, some fruit, butternuts, and vegetables like carrots and beets, and doing just a more higher fat, vegan, keto-like diet with adding in vitamin D, zinc, B12, glutamine, and fish oil omega-3s. Let's see what else. Okay, basically 120 grams a day of fat, less than 50 grams of net carbs per day, more like 25. Worried about her hormones becoming out of whack. And she asked now, what do you think could explain my pains if it's not parasites or allergies? If you have an idea, what could be the solution for a better normal life? Should I maintain vegan keto? I feel like I've been abandoned by doctors and it's just me, a young girl stuck with this problem. Thank you so much for answering this. It would mean a lot to me. Cheers from France, because yes, even French people listen to your podcast. P.S. I've always had trouble with digestion, more like bloating and gas. I'm very sensitive. I'm very thin. I do sports. I eat a lot of vegetables. Okay. So, Lena, we can take care of this. There's no doubt about it. We'll give you your answer today. I mean, I really believe that because I see this all the time. It's strange in a lot of practices, and I understand that. But my practice is like the strangest of all practices, right? So I see all of these so-called mystery-based illnesses or diseases of the body. But the truth is that they're not mysteries at all if you've seen it, a couple hundred times or 1,000 times. All right, so here's the deal. You have allergies. You may have parasites. You may not. First of all, you don't test for parasites on blood work. You do a stool test. So if you haven't had a stool test, you don't know. You can't test H. pylori without really doing a stool test as well. Can't do the breath test. The blood test is fine. The best way to test for parasites is things that come out of the colon. Same with H. pylori. So you should do a stool test. Okay, so that's one. Now, you can't say that you don't have allergies because your eosinophils are through the roof. Now, eosinophils, for those who don't know what they are essentially an inflammatory-based reaction in the blood. When we look under the white blood cells, we look at our immune-based reaction on a typical blood work, you'll see that, okay? It means you have allergies. Like, there's no doubt about it. You can have tissue destruction, you can have inflammation, you can have allergies to environmental or food-based sensitivities. So you do have them. It's just because you did. So the people, they do a food sensitivity test and it comes up high on only 5 different foods. And they're like, oh, well, I can eat this because it shows on my test I'm not allergic to it. Well, that's not necessarily true. When you do a food sensitivity test, you should have it done, but you're testing it from either an IgE, IgM, or IgG-based perspective. And yes, you can also do an IgA. So there's a bunch of different ways. But here's the thing. Those test proteins. What you're having issues with is probably fermentable-based foods. So what's the answer? Well, the answer is that you're not having an issue with the proteins. You're having an answer with the sugars from the fruit and the vegetables. Or you're having issues with other things inside of vegetables, such as lectins or nightshade-based vegetables as well. So then your answer should be, should it just be vegan keto? No. I mean, there's a reason why people feel better doing a high-fat diet. Doesn't mean it's super healthy for them. What it means is they've now stayed away from all of the foods that cause them issues. Is that healthy? In my opinion, no. It's like just staying away from the problem that that you have. It's like, it's a really bad analogy, but I'll give it anyways. It's like you have a convertible car, but it doesn't have a roof, so it's always a convertible. So what you do is you only drive that convertible on days that it's sunny, So it's like, okay, well, it's kind of useless in the winter, and it's kind of useless if it's raining out that day. Well, your gut is essentially useless unless you only eat fat, because what? Fat has no sugar and fat has no protein. That's why it's basically non-reactive to the body. Does it mean it's healthy? No, it could clog up the lymphatic system. It gives you one fuel source and you don't get any glucose to the body. So now the body's trying to make ketones or it's trying to use a process called gluconeogenesis. Again, all of that's fine. And I actually have no problem with it. Like people think I'm anti-keto. Sure, I'm anti-keto if that was your plan for life. But if it's your plan for a couple weeks or maybe a month or a little bit longer, sure. I'm more of a fan of like cyclical based keto where like the first 2 days of our Dr. Ball detox gets you potentially in a keto based state. But really, that's not the goal. The goal is to get you healthy. So in my opinion, you have high eosinophils and you have high pain in the gut because you most likely have candida overgrowth or you most likely have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You have to run an organic acids test. Currently, we don't ship to France and Europe. We hope to one day. Now we ship to the UK, US, and Australia. We're not able to ship to Europe quite yet. We will be. I mean, literally, I would say in 3 months, we'll be able to ship there. But you can find a functional medicine doctor, and they do exist over in Europe. And there's actually quite a few, especially in Germany. Germany's pretty amazing in terms of integrative medicine. Like it is, I'll tell you right now, the only place that I wish I studied that I wasn't able to was Germany. And I still might. I still might not necessarily study there, but actually work and give seminars in some of the practices over there, which I'm looking into right now I wish I could remember the name right off the top of my head. It begins with a B. Well, I'll get back to you on that. Because I do plan on doing seminars eventually in Australia and Europe as well. Because we do have a lot of listeners. So actually, I can see all over the world where people are listening to on the Cabral concept. It's pretty amazing. And I think literally we're on every continent except Antarctica, to my knowledge. So anyway, you need to look for candida overgrowth. You need to look for bacterial overgrowth in the gut. You need to seal up your gut wall. You'll be able to get rid of this. You really will. Using things like a digestive enzyme will help initially, but it still doesn't get rid of the candida and it still doesn't get rid of the bacterial overgrowth. And again, you might not have IgE or IgG sensitivities and you might not have a parasite. You might not have H. pylori. Doesn't mean you don't have bacterial overgrowth, and it certainly doesn't mean that you don't have candida overgrowth, which is allowing for the fermentation of these carbohydrates. I've done so many shows on this in the past, so simply go back, tune into the Cabral concept on all these things about leaky gut, candida, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Find a practitioner who's going to do the organic acids test, a stool test if you would like, and then begin something like our candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. If you have a friend in Canada, the UK, or Australia, have it shipped to them, and then they'll ship it to you. That's the best I can do for right now. But Lena, no doubt about it, you'll be able to figure this out. We do this with people literally. Not a day goes by in my practice that we don't see someone with the same exact issues that you have right now. That's the honest truth. All right. Ryan's up next. Ryan's asking, hey, Dr. Brawl, I'm reaching out to you on a recommendation from one of my clients, and I believe your friend, Dave Armstrong Army, in regards to my father. In September 2017, he had a partial knee replacement and resulted in an infection with heavy antibiotic treatment. Since that time, he's been suffering with a multitude of health issues concerning his kidneys, blood platelets, diabetes, as well as pancreatic digestive function. He has over a half a dozen doctors and specialists, gone through about every test and scan you could think of. Yet collectively, they have absolutely no idea what's going on. The only answer is to give more medication. I fear that we'll never get to the bottom of this medication until one of his system fails. I'm not sure how your practice works, but I'd like to set up a consultation for him if possible. I will be contacting your office as instructed by Julia via Dave. Okay, let's see what this question's really asking. Okay, regards to his father, partial knee replacement resulted in infection, then led to antibiotics. Antibiotic use then led to kidney issues, blood platelet issues, diabetes, pancreatic issues, digestive function. Okay, so if I'm pulling everything together right now, I'm looking at the knee issue, taking the antibiotics. The antibiotics caused some type of gut-based issue, as well as it looks like cardiovascular-based issue, but let's go with gut-based issue for a moment, causing some type of intestinal permeability, allowing proteins to spill into the bloodstream, potentially then really clogging up and affecting the kidneys and affecting, obviously, digestive function. So now less absorption of good food. It also looks like that inflammation from these gut-based issues is affecting blood sugar issues, pancreatic issues as well. So what am I recommending? Well, I don't know the medications that he's on, but I couldn't recommend enough doing something like the 21-day Dr. Cabral detox and running, if I could only do one test, would be an organic acids test. I want to look at leaky gut, intestinal permeability, candida overgrowth, bacterial overgrowth. I want to look at fatty acids, if those are in the bloodstream as well, his vitamin levels. That is where I would first start. This is definitely fixable, definitely fixable. So, I mean, that same boat again. People come to me, they're working with a half a dozen different specialists. They've seen a dozen different doctors. How are we able to figure it out? Well, the truth is that we look at blood work, which is great, and I like looking at blood work. But in conventional medicine, it's all you look at. You look at blood work. The difference is with naturopathic medicine, functional medicine, integrative medicine, whatever you want to call it, you're looking at subclinical labs. Now, conventional medicine can't even run them. But if you were to run a urine-based test, a hair-based test, a hormone saliva-based test, and again, I'm not recommending this directly for you, Ryan, but you'll be able to figure out the underlying root causes. Now, why doesn't conventional medicine run these labs? Well, because they don't diagnose disease. And that's the difference. Meaning, if you can't diagnose disease, why would you run a test? Because if you're a conventional medicine doctor or specialist, you need to be able to prescribe a course of action, which is medication or surgery. I can't think of another action. Can you? Can anybody think of another action that a medical doctor could give you? It's wait and see, for it to get worse, which is what they're doing right now. Prescribe a medication based on what was found in the blood work or what you think is going on. Or number 3, cut it out, burn it out, whatever. Those are the options. And again, it's not medical doctors' faults. I'm not blaming medical doctors. And again, I'll say this every time if I have to. I'm very grateful that we have amazing medical doctors and specialists out there. And I hope that one day I never need to go see one ever. I used to. Remember, I was this guy, right? I went to dozens, not a half a dozen, dozens of specialists and doctors. I hope that no one that I know has to go to one, but I'm very grateful that we do have that. Having said that, you need to go deeper. You need to run the organic acids test. You need to run additional testing. The Big 5 labs is, of course, the Big 5 is what I recommend. But that, if that doesn't fit within your budget, at least run that organic acids test. And then we'll fix those gut issues, do the Dr. Cabral detox, kidney issues, blood platelets, diabetes. These are all digestive based. Why would kidneys be digestive based? Well, your kidneys, the main issue with kidney issues is that a lot of times your kidneys are trying to filter protein, or they're filtering things that they were never meant to see, which a lot of times means the liver shows up okay because the liver's so strong until it's not, but the liver isn't detoxifying or cleaning the blood as well as it's supposed to. Blood platelets, well, maybe there's deficiencies in certain B vitamins, et cetera. There's so many different things. So I'm going to keep it at that. You'll be able to figure it out. That's what I would do. All right. JA is up next. Or again, we're welcome to work with your father on a one-on-one basis as well. That's always an option. I will never turn anyone away. But also you get at least answers just by ordering a lab test right online. All right. JA is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Love your podcast and learning about natural medicine. I'm on a healing journey to resolve chronic mystery pain that came up 2 years ago and has not left. I've addressed heavy metals with extensive organic acid testing, hair tissue mineral analysis. All look okay. The only thing left is elevated LFT and bilirubin. My practitioner thinks this could be causing excess estrogen and histamine. So working to balance out hormones via the liver. Aside from this, I want to do your 7-day detox, but we'll have to tweak it as I'm very sensitive to P on IgG. So we'll use hemp protein and supplements my ND has given me. My question, sorry, took a while to get to it, but trying to give you a full picture. Listen to your podcast 705 on 3 meals per day. I anted your take on how I eat assist with the above. I'm sorry, it just was a typo there. I eat a plant-based diet. My day starts with a smoothie, snack and hummus and rice cakes about 10, lunch is salad with quinoa veggies. I have another snack, piece of fruit around 2, then dinner about 7. Because I have a longer day, am I okay to snack or am I overloading my body and delaying healing? Should my snack be protein shakes? Weight is stable and I don't need to lose weight. Pitta kapha body type. Any additional comments on the whole situation would be appreciated. Happy New Year. I'll be listening to every podcast. All right, J.A., you said that you had an elevated liver function test and you had elevated bilirubin on your blood work. Okay. So this means, of course, then, that the liver, bilirubin being one of the markers as well for liver, gallbladder-based health, is not functioning as well as it should be. And that could be from alcohol intake. So, of course, we want to make sure that that's not there. We want to look at congested bile ducts. So there's that there. What would I give you? Again, I'm always, you ran the organic acid test and HTMA through your practitioner, which is great. I would obviously just want to make sure that there's no digestive issues and that, symptomatically you feel okay as well. I would 100% do a 21-day Dr. Ball detox. And what will that do? Well, it's literally, we don't call it that, but it's a functional medicine liver detox. It gives your liver the ability to clean itself out to a much greater degree. After that, I would also think about doing the amazing liver and gallbladder cleanse. And I will type that up in the show notes. That was way back in the day I did that. So it's called liver and gallbladder cleanse. And that will help to really soften the bile in the liver as well. That's been done for thousands of years throughout history. And again, Ayurveda was the first one to do this particular one, but many, many cultures across the world have done the liver and gallbladder cleanse. That saved many a gallbladder from having to be removed. So there's that. I would also look into coffee enemas. I've done a podcast on coffee enemas as well. I'll try to link that up. If not, literally go to stephencabral.com/podcast, type in coffee enema. Why do you do that? Well, by doing a coffee enema, the coffee actually comes into the colon about 2 feet to 3 feet into the colon. It starts to move up directly to the liver, and this is through the hepatic portal duct, and the hepatic portal vein is what goes back and forth through your liver to your colon. So what we're able to do here is actually get the liver to circulate blood faster. Okay, that's going to come from the caffeinated black coffee that you're going to use. I tell you exactly how to do it. And then what it also does is it dilates, so it expands the bile ducts. This allows then for you to filter more toxins faster and let your liver just dump toxins directly into your colon. And then after about 15 minutes, which is about 5 cycles through the liver of all your blood. So basically within 15 minutes, all the blood in your body would have cycled 5 times through your liver. It's pretty amazing. Again, they do this for natural cancer therapy all throughout the world. Gerson therapy is probably the most famous cancer therapy that uses coffee enemas, and that's because as they're killing cancer cells, they want to get all these toxins out of the body as fast as possible. There are many people who believe, myself included with that the liver is one of the keys to healing the body in general, and especially with cancer as well. So coffee enemas will help liver and gallbladder, definitely heavy metals, and then start to look at, and I'll talk more about this because again, it's not for everyone. People think that they should be on a low lectin diet. 99% of the population has no need to ever worry about lectins anytime, ever in their life. End of story. I will talk more about that on a full podcast, but there are the special few. I'm part of course, the special few. By that, I mean I'm part of the non-elite group that has to actually, or in their past, has had to watch out for random things like nightshades and lectins. And you might be one of those special people too, J.A. And so you'll want to tune in my show called the deadly food that causes inflammation. Just type in again, go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in nightshade. That's it. One word, nightshade. And you'll see that as well. So you'll always be able to figure it out. You honestly will, but you just have to use the process of elimination. Again, tune into Wednesday's show. Wednesday's show is 754, how to create your own rotation diet. And you'll figure out some days you have more pain, some days you have less. On the days you had more pain, what did you eat that day? And so the reason why I don't recommend for you 5 meals plus 2 snacks is that you have so many variables in your day, you're never going to be able to figure it out. So eat more at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe do 1 snack at mid-afternoon by just bumping your lunch a little earlier to, let's say, 11 or 11:30 a.m., then doing your snack around 2:33, and then do dinner. And then make your snack in mid-afternoon something pretty benign, such as like fruit without skin on it if you're testing lectins. Like just, again, rotate, test. It's easier that way. Check it out. Hopefully that answer helps. I know I'm being long-winded on questions today, but these are newer ones. So if I haven't answered it before, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to answer it how it should be answered. All right, that's the place to get started. Hopefully that helps. Mel's up next. Mel's asking, hi, not sure if you received my question last time. Sorry if you did. What ate your thought on baby formula if it has to be given along with breastfeeding? First foods for baby, also best contraception to avoid pill. All right, Mel, I've answered all these questions before. I'll link them up in the show notes. So we're going to put in baby formula. The baby formula that I recommend is by the Weston Price Foundation. Or if you want a pre-made formula, we've also linked that up in the cabralsupportgroup.com. That's our online free Facebook group. We've linked up that formula before. It's an organic one that uses, I believe, goat's milk instead of cow's milk. We can look into that. And then best contraception, I've recommended that before as well. So you can check into that if you don't want to use birth control, which again, I'm not recommending. And there are pros and cons, obviously, to copper-based IUD. And then obviously, there's condoms, there's looking at the rhythms of a woman's cycle. There's so many things. I've answered all that before, so we'll link those up. Okay. Amelia's up next. Amelia is asking, hi, Dr. Ball. I'm in my 40s and I've been researching the best supplements for hair growth and skin firming. I've heard about things like collagen and vital proteins, but I'm not sure which brands to trust to work. Can you recommend a few great ones for both skin collagen and tightening as well as hair growth? Thanks. Okay, so I've actually made this recommendation before. I'm going to link it up in the show notes. Great Lakes is a nice company. So Great Lakes makes a collagen. It almost tastes like nothing, and you can literally put it in hot water and drink it like a tea. It's a nice one to do before bed, especially if you're looking to stabilize blood sugar and you just want a little tea. It has about 10 grams of protein or so per, I believe it's like 2 tablespoons. So you can check that out. I've heard good things about vital proteins, but I haven't looked at what it actually has in there, meaning like I want to make sure there's no fillers in there. So what I'll look at right now is vital proteins ingredients and just let you know what it looks like. Okay, it's gluten-free, it's dairy-free, no sugar added. Let's see if I can find the extras in it for you. All right. Bovine hide collagen peptides. That's it. Okay. And yeah, so that's about it. In 2 scoops, it gives you 18 grams of protein. I don't know if you need 18 grams of protein. You might only need 1 scoop. So here's the deal though. Keep in mind that collagen protein, and one of the reasons that I don't always recommend it, I never recommend it in my practice because I work with people with very sensitive gut-based issues. When it comes from the skin, which is the hide, right, of an animal, that's where you're getting a lot of collagen from the skin of an animal, skin of a cow. So a lot of people don't know that. And the issue with the skin of any animal is that it contains a massive amount of histamines. So if you have histamine-based issues, and again, I'm not going to name any names, but there are some famous doctors, practitioners out there, and I look at them, and they're doing videos, and they're amazing human beings. And I look at their skin, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a food reaction right there. That's a food reaction. And I know that they sell collagen-based protein, and I just wonder, like, I want to help these people, but I try to be respectful, and I never want to step out of my lane. But I'm like, that product is causing you, you can see it on your skin. Like that's whatever you're doing right now in your diet. And again, I don't know what you're doing. So it's not my place. I don't want to, again, I'm not going to step out of bounds to say that. But the truth is that it contains a lot of histamines, and some people are more sensitive to histamines because they can't degrade them as well. They can't degrade them as well because of gut-based issues. They can't degrade them as well because they don't produce as much diamine oxidase. And they also can't degrade them as well because of certain genetic inborn things as well. They're more prone to a Th2-based immune reaction. And so it's just something to look at, and hopefully that helps. And so, but again, like I recommended collagen plenty of times. If I know someone doesn't have any gut issues, I know they don't have allergies, I don't know they don't have any of these issues. Well, if you want to use some collagen as a mid-afternoon snack or a before bed snack, like make it into a tea or a shake, no problem with me, like at all. I think it can be great. But then again, in my practice, everything can be great. It just has to be for the right person. Okay, I'd love to move on and answer one more question for the day, and that is from D. So this is a great question. It's never come in before, so I'm excited to answer this, and I actually want to use this as one of my challenges coming up. So D is asking, hi, Dr. Ball, can you recommend alternatives to plastic wraps and storage baggies. I see some silicone options, but I was wondering if anything better or more cost-effective. Thanks for the info, D. All right, D, really great question. In my house, we try to really lower as much plastic as we can. Even when people purchase products from us in our practice or whatever it might be, we use 100% recycled plastic bags, and then we obviously ask them to recycle those or continue using them. For myself personally, I've had it for so long, like 10 years. It's a canvas, but it's a soft textured like cotton bag, basically. It's a shopping bag. So I have one of those that I always bring for grocery food shopping because I just roll it up. And then I have another one that's like a plastic-based material, but it folds up into this little ball. Most people know what those ones are, the tiny ones. And then I can keep that in my larger bag. And so anytime I might need a bag, I can just unravel that one as well. So I'm going to give you some tips. That would be just for regular carrying around. But yes, there's this new thing going on called silicone Ziploc bags, because really what you're talking about is like those storage baggies, like the sandwich bags, the plastic Ziploc bags. Well, those obviously create a lot of waste and a lot of plastic. And silicone bags are more expensive, but here's the deal. You can reuse them. So you have to look at them as almost like an investment that you can reuse them over and over and over, and they should last you actually years. So more cost up front, but again, you're saving plastic and you're able to use them for years. And there's also an amazing website that I want to point you to. Now, I don't agree with like 100% of the stuff with it, as always, right? But for the most part, they have some great things on there. I really, really like it. And it's called lifewithoutplastic.com. Check it out, lifewithoutplastic.com. As always, for everyone's question, whether it was the baby formula, the contraception podcast, Great Lakes Collagen, the Life Without Plastic, just go to stevencabral.com/758. I'm going to link up everything today in the show notes. And if you go to that page, you will find all of that information. Thank you so much for tuning into this weekend's Cabral HouseCalls. As always, I appreciate your support. I appreciate your listens. And if you haven't got a chance yet to review the Cabral concept on iTunes, it would mean the world to me. It really would. It's our ability. It's our way. The more that we climb those ranks in iTunes to be able to spread the message, to be able to spread the word. So truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Can't wait to speak with you tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. I'll talk with you then. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.